Hello everyone and welcome to another royal reading. This is a reading I've been meaning to do for a few days, and it is a reading on the story, the rumour that Meghan Markle is planning to divorce Prince Harry so that she can run for president. According to a PR guru, Richard Hillgrove, she is planning to jettison Prince Harry to pave way for a presidential run. He is no longer useful because he is not popular anymore, either in the UK or the US, and the UN debacle, the speech, the Nelson Mandela speech, proof of how unpopular he is, but also, according to Richard Hillgrove, quite a deliberate strategy to undermine him and make him look useless. As far as I understood the article is still there, it's still floating around. The body language guy did a video on it and said, oh, read this, watch this before the article is pulled. Not pulled, you can find it. On the other hand, there is this divorce story floating around that Meghan is getting ready to ditch. She's preparing for her dismount, shall we say. And then, of course, people like Teresa Longo fans, Bark Jack, come out and say no such thing, no divorce plans, they're too useful to each other, they are co-conspirators, they are co-collaborators. Bad word, made up word, but that's what Teresa Longo fans said on their Twitter feed, or wherever it was, I can't remember. But that's what's going on. So I'm going to do a reading from Meghan's point of view, and I just have to point out, as I was sitting thinking about this reading and how I would approach it and what questions I would ask universe, I always do this, have a little think, a little meditate. Up popped the news that Harry and Meghan are going to renew their wedding vows this summer. We've heard this news before. I have done a reading on this before. It was reading number 485. I'm going to do a reading on it again if I have time today. I am racing against the clock because we have load shedding back in our lives in South Africa at the moment. But that first reading I did on it a few months ago seemed to say yes, they were going to do this for Netflix, for the clicks, for the content that Netflix wants from them, pretend that all is well in the world. So just by the way, these are the things that are going on, shuffling around in the background of this reading. The idea from Teresa Longo fans that no divorce plans, and the idea also that Harry and Meghan are about to renew their wedding vows, just to prove a point about how happy they are. So, divorce reading in that context. I know some people get agitated when I do divorce readings, but comes with the territory. It is also up and down with Harry and Meghan. The energy is so up and down that these things are necessary just to find out what is really going on. If a PR guru can spot the plan and says this is what he thinks is going on, well then it's worth reading on, in my opinion. And let's just remind you, we are dealing with a tarot reading for entertainment purposes, or my opinion, or speculation. And there is a disclaimer in the box below, and please do your own research, form your own conclusions. What we have as the underlying energy of this reading is the moon in reverse. The moon is, when it's upright, confusion, doubt, fear, your shadow self, the stuff that you project, the stuff that you want to keep hidden. When the card is in the reverse, you get some clarity. You're no longer in that moonlight in the shadows of the moon. You actually, daylight starts to break and you start to get some clarity about what's going on. And you get over your fears and your doubts and you move forward. So that's quite an interesting card, because it tells me that she possibly has been thinking about this and worried about the consequences if she does make this quite radical decision. Card in the reverse, possibly getting ready psychologically, because the moon is very, very much about your psychology, but your emotions, your mental state, but also your actual psychology, what makes you tick. And we're getting somewhere. And if you hear scratching in the background during this reading, it is Fluffy, who wants some attention and some cuddles and some play. She's feeling a lot better after she was beaten up. Much better. And anyway, let's have a look at the heart of this reading. We're doing this Celtic cross from Meghan Markle's point of view, using the standard Rider-Waite. I didn't make that point. Knight of Swords in reverse. That is, yeah, Harry, get ready to be served. legal papers. Knight of Swords, swift-moving, aggressive, combative, ferocious energy. When it's in the reverse, it's brutal, it's very cruel, ruthless, ugly, cutting, very hasty, reckless energy. And that's what is the center of this reading. That is the state of play at the moment in her life, in her own mind, in her own world. So that's not a loving card. That's not a in it for the long haul card. Not at all. What challenges is she faced with while she contemplates her marriage and where to go next? Well, we get, interestingly, I've been talking about psychology and secrets and things. We get the mental health card, the 9 of Wands. Might be that if she does the dirty, she actually does the dismount, she's going to be to blame for mental health consequences for Prince Harry. You see the bandage around that fellow's head. A wounded warrior card, the 9 of Wands. Somebody who is barricaded, who is on their guard, who has been knocked around, has suffered the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. Still standing, but the slightest breeze could tip him over. So I think she's worried that it's going to look really bad if she dumps him now. We've all seen the photos, we've all seen the videos where he just looks so miserable. If she tips him over the edge and he does something stupid, she's not going to come out of this well, especially if she's thinking of running for office. Doesn't look good. Dump your mentally fragile spouse so that you can get a clean run at the White House, and then he ends up, let's say, in what are those places that you have to go for a month to recover? One of those places ends up in rehab, or one of those places. I've completely lost my vocabulary right now, but that's what she's worried about. She's worried that it's just not going to look good, basically, and she's all about image. We know that from Tom Bauer's book, so I'm not going to say allegedly. She is all about appearances. Let's see what's going on behind the scenes, the hidden energy, the motivation here. Stuck. She's stuck. She's feeling really stuck with that 6 of Swords in reverse. Upright, you move away, you move on from your tough situation that you're in, especially your mental struggles. Card is in the reverse. She can't get away from this mess that they have made of things. Basically, since they met, it's been a bit of a mess, and she cannot just walk away. Wants to walk away. She's had clarity about this with the Moon card in reverse. She's finally no longer confused. She's no longer being pulled in different directions, because the Moon is about gravity. It's about what pulls you and influences you, and she is beginning to free herself from those feelings and those energies. But guilt looks bad, and somehow she's stuck, and it's got to do with the 6 of Swords, a scratch. The 6 of Swords is a card of international travel as well, and exploration and discovery and things like that. She didn't discover, she didn't find what she thought she would. She didn't find that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow when she set off back to California, thinking she would be embraced by Hollywood or by the Democratic Party establishment. Didn't happen, and it's a problem for her. She's got some troubles of her own. So let's see her focus right now. What is her mind on? Wow, that's a divorce card if ever there was. 10 of Cups in reverse. Happy families when it's upright, everything going great. It looks good. Even if it isn't behind the scenes, it looks fantastic. That's the renewing your wedding vows card when it's upright. But when the card is in reverse, things are not going well at all. It's maximum unhappiness. Nobody's buying the lie anymore. 10 of Cups in reverse. The couple themselves aren't buying the lie, and the people looking in aren't buying the lie. Whether it's Netflix or whether it's you and me watching from the sidelines and seeing there's little squabbles and the hand being pulled and pushed and the scowling and the frowning and all of that going on at the United Nations. It's told its own little tale. Somebody put together a compilation of Harry's bad mood looks. I can't remember where I saw it. I saw it today somewhere. It might have been on Twitter, it might have been on Instagram, somewhere out there on social media, and that unhappy face. Nobody whose life is good has that many unhappy moments captured by cameras. You might get the odd snarl, unfortunate expression just as the camera clicks. It happens to everyone, it happens to celebrities. But so many, so consistently unhappy, scowling, frowning, looking depressed, looking lost, looking confused, looking medicated. Dreadful, dreadful energy. So that's the Ten of Cups in reverse. Past energy, what's been going on in the build up to now. How have they been doing? The Fool, well, that was the brave new adventure that they set off on, and was rather foolish, even though the card is upright and doesn't literally mean reckless, foolhardy energy. It means being enthusiastic about something and not looking at the pitfalls, not being focused on the pitfalls, seeing the possibilities and the opportunities, and setting off optimistically, but a little bit deluded there, I would say, with that Fool setting off on their big adventure, and it has all come crashing down. What's coming up in the future? What's coming towards Meghan Markle, or what is she planning next in terms of marriage and relationship? And planning, she's always scheming. Wow, okay. The Lovers in reverse. There's a split, big split. It's major arcana, breakup card, separation card. Even though we're getting this PR, and the PR is in Heat World, it's Omid's go-to place, it's Meghan's go-to place at the moment to put in that story. This is very much celebrities. You hear about, oh, they're going off on a lovely holiday, or they're buying a new house together, or whatever, and then next week you hear the news that they've actually been separated for quite a long time, and divorce lawyers have been signed up or instructed, or whatever one does with divorce lawyers. So that's not a happy card. If you're Prince Harry and you think you're in this marriage for the long haul, no, you're not. My opinion, tarot reader, entertainment purposes. Lovers card in reverse, couldn't be clearer. We've got the Ten of Cups in reverse as her focus. She knows how unhappy they are, and she knows nobody is buying the BS anymore. Lovers coming up in reverse. A split, a separation, a choice, a decision. The Lovers is about choices. It's a negative choice. It's a difficult, ugly choice when the card is in reverse. A bad choice. Gonna chuck him. So that's the story. Her intentions towards Prince Harry. Let's just clarify this. Her feelings towards him. The Hanged Man. She feels stuck with him. We've seen that with the Six of Swords in here, and also this idea that it'll look bad if she ditches him now. She does want to, and it's coming up in their future energy in this timeline, in this reading, but she sees herself as being stuck. The Hanged Man is somebody who's in limbo, stuck, kicking their heels, can't do anything, can't get anywhere, but she also sees him as being stuck. He is the one who doesn't have power, he doesn't have his own mojo, he can't get anything started, he can't do anything, he can't manifest anything. It is also the Victim card. Person who's disenfranchised, person who's powerless and feels that they are the victim, and I think she's tired of it. We're getting these weird PR stories about the book and how shocked she was to read his book and all the terrible things, and it was difficult for her to read, putting some distance between herself and his story already. Preparing, planning. I think not a day goes by that she isn't sitting there conspiring, plotting and planning, my opinion, allegedly. But she's sick of it. She's sick of this inertia and this apathy and this victimhood. She wants to be President of the United States. She wants to be with the power players. She doesn't want to be with this pathetic prince who I don't think can put toothpaste on his toothbrush without some help from a servant. That's Prince Charles, I know. And I'm not digging at Prince Charles. Some people get agitated when I say rude things about Prince Charles. I'm not. It amuses me that there's that level of help given to these royals. I think Prince Harry is in some level in a similar situation. He's pretty useless at day-to-day things like running a house, putting the rubbish out, paying bills, going to the bank, doing that kind of stuff. Never done it before, clueless, and she is sick of it. So what pressure is she under? What's problematic? All these deals. The Three of Pentacles. They've got so many deals that they're involved in together. It's the collaborators, the conspirators, and as Bach Jack called it, the collaborators. They are Italian, as I gather. So they're allowed to make up words. Conspirators. They are in this together. And it's going to be difficult to disentangle herself from the deals and the schemes and the plans and the plotting that is going on there. So that's her problem. That's what she's sitting wondering now. How do I wriggle out of this? She's pretty good at sending rings back by FedEx and letting other people clean up the mess, cutting people out of her life. She's pretty good at it. We've seen the central energy of this reading is the Knight of Swords in reverse. It's there. The energy is there, but she's got to be strategic about it. She's got to make sure that she protects herself and her reputation and she doesn't look bad. He's the one who's going to look bad, really. Let's be honest about it, in my opinion, allegedly. So her hopes and fears right now, hopes and fears for Meghan Markle. Has she stashed enough money in her bank account, perhaps her offshore account? I'm joking. Seven of Pentacles, all about the money, all about the money. Was it worth it? Did she make bank, as they say? Has she got enough to see her through, to tide her over? Was it worth it? That investment, has it borne fruit? It's harvest time now. She's sitting and looking at it. She's having a good old think. The Hanged Man is also a thinking card, taking stock. She's counting. She's going through her assets. She's going through the jewellery collection. She's going through whatever she siphoned off from the royals. Joking. She is going through her designer wardrobe. She's looking at her property portfolio, whatever that might entail. She's looking at who she's got lined up next. She's taking stock. She's doing an audit. She's doing an audit of her assets, and once she's done the audit, then it will be goodbye. It's in the hopes and fears position, so she's hoping that when she does this audit, it's going to turn out that she's on the right side of the balance sheet. She's not on the wrong side and in debt and registering a loss here or reporting a loss in her audit. So outcome, and I didn't put a time limit on this reading. I thought, you just tell me, universe, outcome ultimately for this marriage. I wouldn't say of true minds, and what's going to happen ultimately. Queen of Wands, off she goes. Footloose and fancy free. The Queen of Wands is going to emerge triumphant from this mess. She is the Leo woman, the fire sign woman, very powerful. She puts on her sexy, she gets her sexy back. The Queen of Wands. Weight loss going on, quite noticeable weight loss going on. She's looking a lot better than she has. She got sort of quite frumpish and middle-aged, and she's getting to look better and better, slimmer and slimmer, and she is independent, the Queen of Wands. If it was the Queen of Pentacles, I would say going to stay married because that's the wife card. But the Queen of Wands is the dating, flirting, looking for the next catch card, the Queen of Wands, and she's a leader. She's very pleased with herself. She's very dynamic. She's very energetic, very enthusiastic, very playful, and she's out to have a good time, the Queen of Wands. I don't see any sign of has-been being towed along there by the Queen of Wands. She is going to wriggle out of this marriage with the Lovers in reverse, and she's going to be off. And she's going to pop up somewhere else. She's going to reinvent herself. Queen of Wands, very creative, very inventive, going to reinvent herself, going to burst onto some other scene. Don't know what that scene will be. It looks more and more like politics, even though it looks doomed to failure, as everything she does ultimately is doomed to failure. So don't worry about it. Don't get upset. I've done lots of political readings. Never going to go well for Meghan. But this is her plan. This is where she is now. This was the ultimate goal. She's going to ditch the baggage, the has-been, and off she goes into the sunset on her new adventure. Started off a new adventure here in the past. Queen of Wands, is off on her next adventure, minus has been. Seems to be the way these cards are telling this story. I'm going to go read quickly now on the fact that they are going to renew their vows. Seems quite funny in light of this reading. But thanks for watching, and off I scurry before it's lights out here in South Africa again.